what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video here on the channel. Today we're back on the main channel. We're still doing the TGC Summer Anniversary series here in 2026. And since we're on the main channel again, that means it's time for another Platinum video. And today, at the time of recording this voiceover, I just finally went back and cleaned up. Well, actually, not just cleaned up, but I went back and started a whole new playthrough, finally finished the game, and cleaned up the Platinum for the Don't Nod title, Jusant. And this is a game that I had heard about basically right away when it launched. I was excited for it, it looked really cool, and yeah, I bought it right away and jumped in. I earned 8 trophies before putting it down and then not coming back to it for 2 years. You know, more than 2 years. Right. But, like I said, I came back to it and cleaned up the Platinum. So, obviously, like I've done with all the others, I'm gonna tell you how the experience was. I guess, for those of you who don't know, Jusant is a smaller game from Don't Nod. It's, of course, very stylized in its look, graphics, and aesthetic. It's a very pretty game as well, but there's no combat. Like, there's absolutely zero combat, no enemies. It's meant to be a nice, relaxing game. You're climbing, and that's it, you know? Rock climbing is the whole gameplay loop of the game. And the only sort of, like, tension you'll experience is, you know, besides the tension in your ropes, it'll be just keeping up with your stamina gauge and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was a very good time, and you can get the Platinum pretty quickly if you want to as well, especially if you follow a guide. I didn't really. I looked a few things up when I was like just very stuck, but outside of that, I've tried to find everything myself. But yeah, if you either follow a guide or you're just very good at finding collectibles, then you should be able to finish the game in probably about 4 to 5 hours. It took me way longer because, well, most of the time, I just play games a lot slower. A lot slower than the average. Anyway, that's not really the point. Getting back to the point of the video, though, now let's talk about getting the Platinum. So, when I first started the game in January of 2024, like I said, I earned 8 trophies. And they're all pretty simple trophies. The first one I got was First Contact, which is simply for reading your first letter. And then picking up and listening to your first seashell will get you an ear to the past. Completing your first rock pile, or cairn, will get you first stone. Using your little baby ballast friend to illuminate pictures on the wall. Doing that for the first time will get you Echo from the Past, and that's for activating a fresco. When you're climbing, like I said earlier, you have a stamina gauge. While you're holding on, if you pause, stop moving, and click in the left stick, you will be able to bring your stamina back up. So restoring your stamina 50 times while climbing gets you fresh air. Once you start Chapter 2, the game will let you know that you can also interact with your little ballast friend. And if you hug the ballast once, you get the trophy Adventure Buddies. And another collectible in the game are these big altars that you can walk up to and spin around. And for spinning your first altar, you get back in motion. And then, unfortunately, this was the last of the 8 from my very first playthrough back in 2024. The screenshot is horrible, and I actually didn't have my PS5 set to automatically record clips at that point. I had turned that off at the time and wouldn't turn it back on until actually I got the Sly 1 PS5 Platinum, which I might eventually make a video on. I'm planning that for a while, but we'll see. Anyway, not the point. But this is Bogey Choco, and that is for scaring more than 10 Chocos back to their burrow. So, yeah. But they're just like small little round creatures that are basically everywhere in the game, and you'll get this very quickly, very naturally. Anyway, so once I came back to the game this year, very recently, The next trophy I got was Acrobat, which you get for completing more than 200 jumps or double jumps in one game. So you should get it very quickly. And then I actually didn't get another trophy till the end of the game. And for completing the game, I got Water Piper. And then I jumped back into Chapter 6, the final chapter of the game, and got 2 miscellaneous trophies. One is a faint glimmer. So throughout this whole chapter, or the first part of this chapter, you will be holding your little ballast friend in your hands. If you press your normal climbing buttons, your triggers, you'll actually hug the ballast and try to warm him up. And for that, you get a faint glimmer. And then if you use the ballast's little echo power, the same one you use for frescoes, and a bunch of other things in the game, if you walk right up to one of the big full-size ballasts in Chapter 6, and I mean right beside, because our little ballast friend is very weak, so doesn't have the normal range on the echo. So walk right up to a full-size ballast and use your echo, and you will get Awakened Memory. And then after that, for some reason, the PS5 just did not record this clip. And I need to get this video done as fast as possible, so we're just going to rock with a screenshot here. And this is Angel's Carabiner, and that is for placing a baton while you're climbing at the absolute peak of a wall run. And I tried to get this for a little bit and just struggled with it. But eventually I just was wall running, and at the very top, I placed the baton and I got it. So I got it in Chapter 3. I have looked at some forum posts, and people say they feel it's actually easier to get in when you're climbing the big structure at the end of the game. But there's a bunch of places you could get it. You just gotta keep trying. After that, though, I got Collective Climb for stopping 25 pebbles. And I know what you're thinking, and no, not pebbles as in little rocks, but little rock-like creatures that are throughout the whole game, starting in Chapter 3, that you can actually grab onto as they're on the walls as little handholds, and they'll carry you up. So if you use the ballast echo, you can stop 25 at one time. And I got this in Chapter 3, which I think is honestly the easiest place to get it. And then, nearing the end of the game, in Chapter 5 now, there is a character in the game called Bianca. We don't see her. We only get to read her journal entries that she left for people to find, as she went on her own journey to try and find the ballast and figure out why all the water disappeared. That's, again, the plot of the game. So if you find and read all of her journal entries that she left around, you will get Final Ascent. And then also in Chapter 5, all the rest of them in Chapter 5, for the record. But then I got Common Ground for completing my final cairn, and then shortly thereafter I activated my final fresco and got Antique Gallery Manager. I read my last letter for Avid Reader. Sound Archaeologist, that's the shells. And that's what I got that one first. Then Cycle Celebration I got after for spinning the last altar. They're in the exact same room. And then my final trophy is Restored Connection for hugging our little ballast friend 20 times. And hugging the ballast for the 20th time got me that trophy and the trophy Ballast, which is the platinum. And like I said, I very much enjoyed Jusant. I thought it was a great game, a great, relaxing, small game, and it was very fun. I liked it a lot. Now, if you're someone that just absolutely needs more tension and combat and stuff like that in your games, then yeah, you probably won't like this. But I mean, based on a lot of the stuff that I've personally played and shown off on this channel and talked about, etc., yeah, I loved this game. I highly recommend it. And if you just want a nice small game that you can just relax to, and then also get in pretty easy platinum, I highly recommend Jusant. I really do. But yeah, that is really all I've got. So that was me getting the Jusant Platinum from Don't Nod, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you check out this game and check out all my other content, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.